Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. I have a special message for you today. Many people will be left behind, but something even greater is happening. You're being guided towards a brighter future, and something incredible is awakening in many people right now. So, what it all means? Well, firstly, you're breaking free from your comfort zone, and maybe you've already noticed that you just can't stay where you've been before. Like you need to do some new things. You need to open up to some new opportunities. You need to talk with new people. You need to do what before you would maybe never do because it was hard, but you said, well, I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. So you've started doing many uncomfortable things. Is that you? Because something incredible is happening on the world. And doing things you previously thought were impossible is becoming something natural for many people. There's nothing that can stop you from obtaining your dreams. It is, the best way to explain it is that that's your destiny. Your destiny is to make dreams possible. You've come here to do the impossible. That's why you've come here. By living and acting as the person you want to be, everything you put your mind to will manifest. And what you're figuring out right now is that discomfort and fear are actually signs of growth. Right? Everything that's unfamiliar awakens within us a sense of discomfort, a sense of fear. But in the past, we've been programmed that discomfort and fears are negative states because we need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Of course, because of our biological evolution, we needed to be prepared for anything that may come up from behind the corner, right? But now we know that those are signs of growth. Every time you decide to do something new, something unfamiliar, something your heart calls you to do, you will feel discomfort and fear. But those are signs of growth. That's how you embrace the transformation. But the thing that is scary for many people is that many people they know will be left behind. Why? Because we need to understand that each of us is on our personal journey of evolution. You've decided to grow maybe. You've decided to spiritually evolve. Maybe you've decided to personally evolve. Maybe you've decided to physically evolve, to see how to expand the potentials of your body, or maybe of your intellect, or maybe of your emotional understanding and support. Whatever path you've chosen, at some point you've noticed that certain people in your life don't support your process because they can't comprehend what you're doing. Certain people don't cope with change as well. Certain people decide that they don't want to change anything in their lives, and that's their free will, that's their free choice. And many of these people will be left behind as you're moving forward. And you need to accept that because we can't force to change anyone. Everyone is on his or her own unique journey of self-discovery and self-evolution, and we shouldn't judge anyone's journey. Some people may have self-destructive patterns, and we truly can't force anyone to change that. What's the most important is that you're working on yourself, because eventually your energy is becoming magnetic for people who are on a similar frequency, who are on a similar energy, because those people will naturally come into your life. But if you find yourself alone right now, it's because the universe wants you to be alone so you can know yourself better. For a long time, you've been distracting yourself. For a long time, you've been searching for sources of distraction. So you would not need to deal with unpleasant sensations within you, unpleasant thoughts, unpleasant beliefs you have about yourself. And now you may be in a situation where you're alone. And when it comes to self-evolution, we all come into a phase where we need to be alone, where we need to be with ourselves, and we just need to become more familiar with everything that's happening within us. And there comes some negative thoughts about ourselves. But what actually happens, we become more familiar with our own self-image. So we need to learn to distance the thoughts we have about ourselves and who we truly are as an observer, as consciousness observing that self-image, that story we are telling to ourselves. We need to find the difference between these two points of awareness. So we can notice, okay, this is what I'm telling to myself, and this is who I truly am when I'm in inner quietness, when I'm in that sensation of just being myself. And what it means? Well, we all have moments when we are really, really happy with just being ourselves. I have those moments when I'm making artwork, when I'm meditating. I have those moments when I go alone into nature, into the forest or close to the river. And those are the moments that remind us who we truly are. And our job is then to maintain the sensations during the day, so we stay aware of who we are and we can work on self-expression. And more people are doing that right now. That's why so many people are letting go of their destructive patterns. And there's many signs you can recognize in your life that you're becoming who you're meant to be. And the first sign is that you know what you want. You know what you want, because most people don't know what they want, and thus people will be left behind. And being left behind doesn't mean that it's something negative, that it's something bad, like something bad will happen to them. Everybody will experience what he or she is creating, because we all experience life through our own perception. So however we choose to perceive it, for somebody who's constantly saying that life is hard, that everything in life is negative, those people will experience life as a hardship, as everything is really hard, everything is really, really heavy. But when you know what you want, you direct your life towards it, right? And you notice what is not allowing you to get there, what is not helping you to become that version of yourself. You notice, well, if I'm constantly complaining, I will never get to where I want to be. So I need to shift my mindset a little bit. And often those people start meditating because they learn that through meditation you can let go of unhealthy mental attitude. If you're wondering how to do it, well, just stay consistent with being quiet for a few minutes in a day and you will see the magic. And of course, for many people it may be hard because we are so used to think about everything. We are used to grab our phones, to scroll, to do whatever. And we are not used to be quiet, right? But when we are quiet, our hearts speak the loudest. So when you know what you want, it's a sign that you're becoming who you're meant to be. Because a person you're meant to be has a clear mind and clear intentions. And that person is aware that your intentions are your tools for creating wonders on this world. And that's just something that you need to remind yourself right now. The second sign is that you feel like right now you are where you're supposed to be. If you feel like that, it means that you're becoming who you're meant to be. So firstly, what it means to become who you're meant to be. Well, before you came here, you've decided who will you become as the greatest potential you can be. That's the knowledge that comes from ancient ancestors. We can find this wisdom in Native Americans' teachings. We can find this wisdom in ancient teachings from Egypt, and we can find that in ancient alchemy. We are all alchemists here, which means that we are all learning to transform ourselves into the greatest possible potential we can be. And that's the purpose of being in this physical, third-dimensional reality. The only purpose here is to learn to manipulate the energy. That's something you've heard most probably from Dolores Cannon. You're here to learn to manipulate the energy, which means that you're here to learn to create, to seek for the greatest possible potential of who you are right at this moment and walk towards it, aim towards it, so you can discover what else is possible for you. Because one day, when you will become a master of it, you will need that knowledge. It's a story that one day or somewhere or at some time in the afterlife, you will need this knowledge of that power of being able to transform anything into its greatest potential. And when you learn to use energy for creating, it means that you're able to detect the inspiring thoughts. You catch them and you make something out of them. That's what artists are doing. That's what world's greatest leaders are doing. That's what people who've created something out of nothing are doing. And sometimes we are not even aware that we are doing that. But that's the work of an alchemist. Another sign that you're becoming who you are meant to be is that you believe you are co-creator of the outcomes in your life. People who don't believe that they are co-creators of outcomes in their lives, they will be left behind. Because you've noticed that you can't find a connection with those people anymore. You can't communicate with them anymore because you're not in the same frequency anymore, right? Have you noticed that every time you say, well, I will make it happen, they say it's not possible because maybe nobody in the family did it, maybe because you don't have the right knowledge or the right education or the right skills or whatever. But you can learn anything. You can shape your mind, right? You can form your skills. You can make things happen because you are a co-creator. And once you know that, you start to recognize how many people are being left behind. We are learning so much and time is speeding up and more people are becoming aware that they are co-creators. But there's many people who don't accept that idea as to be true. And many of those people are being left behind. That's just something we need to accept. They're choosing their own journey. They're learning those things in their own way, in their own time, in their own space. So it's just something that needs to happen. Another sign that you're becoming who you're meant to be is that you start to feel like life is more simple. Do you feel that life is actually simple? I've learned that when me and Maya started taking care of our garden and we've started planning our lives the way that we design the vision for the future, and we've noticed that actually all we need to do is to let go of need to force things to happen. So even about 6 years ago, I wrote down how I want to live my life, and eventually those things started happening, even at the times when I've completely forgotten about what I wrote down. So I've noticed, well, life is really simple. You just need to have a sense of direction. You need to have a meaning why you're doing that. And you need to have also a great reason, like why you want to start at the first place, like why you don't want to live your life the way you've been living it until now. And usually we notice, well, because maybe I'm unsatisfied, maybe I'm unfulfilled, maybe I know that there's something bigger awakening within me and I need to discover what it is. So we step outside of the shell and we start researching in what kind of direction life is calling us. So it's a great reason, but people who don't have any reason to change, those people will be left behind. Life is nothing else but a constant motion of changes. So we can decide to stay stuck in a certain memory of the past, but it's never good for our mental health, it's never good for our growth and evolution. And I'm sure that one day we say, well, I wish I would do things differently, but I was too afraid, I was too scared. So we need to remind ourselves that at some point we need to embody the courage and do what we know that we need to do, and deal with those unpleasant thoughts rather than distracting ourselves from them. And truly, turn off the phone and do what you know that you need to do. And if you're wondering, well, I don't know what I need to do, well, take a piece of paper and write down what you want to experience in your life and ask yourself, what in your knowledge could help you to make it happen? And if you don't have any idea, what could you learn that would help you to make it happen? And if you don't have any idea, go into a bookstore or into a library and see what book will call you and read it. And then put it into work what you've learned. And try it once again and try it once again. And see, you will notice that it's much easier to do nothing than to do that. It's much easier to do nothing, and those who are doing nothing will be left behind, because the universe put you here, because it understands that you have the power, you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have everything you need to make this world a better place by making yourself a better person. You have everything in your hands. But if you don't do anything with it, it means that you've decided to be left behind. You've decided to be stuck. And you can unstuck yourself. Only you can unstuck yourself. So remind yourself that you're here to be a co-creator. You're here to lead your life. You're here to organize your mind, stop jumping from one thing to another, but actually start and finish one thing, so you can train yourself to structure your life the way that can be beneficial for you and inspiring for people around you. Even if you don't use any words for that. Sometimes we don't need to say anything, we just need to be, right? We just need to do what we want to do. And it becomes an inspiration for somebody that will come across your work. So remind yourself to be patient. Remind yourself that you're capable. And remind yourself that when you're feeling down, it's an indication that something within you is seeking to be released. Any negative emotion that is in your awareness is only ever there because it's seeking to be freed. It's not there to push down, to fight against or ignored. Instead, fighting that feeling, seek to understand why it is there. And sometimes that understanding or that process of not knowing to knowing may take us months. Sometimes it is like that. It's all called a path of self-knowledge or path toward self-knowledge. And it's okay. That's what ancient Greek philosophers have understood really, really well. And we need to know that the process of transformation and healing and growth is a long process. It's not an easy journey. So, but if we understand that life is simple, we stop complicating stuff. Every time when healing becomes complicated, it's not the right form of healing. Only things that are simple are really sustainable. So seek towards simple solutions, not easy solutions, but simple solutions. Like Albert Einstein said, he said that a great scientist is the one who can simplify complex concepts so even a little kid can understand it. And it's same with ourselves. We need to learn to simplify what's happening to ourselves, for ourselves, so we can understand our journey better. And that's what we need to do, and that's what we're doing in self-reflection, in deep introspection. That's something that we just need to do. In alchemy, that process is called mental gymnastics. Every time you go through something hard, you go home and you reflect on how you felt when those things were happening, what you've started to think, what beliefs popped up, what you are still holding on to, and recognize what will come up and simplify it. You will see it's not an easy work, but every time you do it, you discover something new about your protective mechanisms. And your protective mechanisms are kinda pulling you away from your authentic self. But when you discover your protective mechanism, you notice that actually you're looking at your protective mechanism from your authentic self. So now you are knowing them. Now you're knowing your patterns. Now you're knowing your unconscious behaviors. Looking at them from the state of authentic self. In that point, or at that point, or in that state, you can ask yourself, what would you do? What would you do differently next time? More authentically, more maybe peacefully, more naturally. That's the best word. More naturally. What would you do next time that would feel more natural? In that same situation, what would you do next time that would feel more natural? The truth is, people who are not doing that work will be left behind, because everything is supporting us to become more authentic, to become more real, more natural. Because we've lost our human nature, our inner nature, and we're discovering it once again. But people who are not doing that work, they will be left behind. Because it's hard to be unauthentic. It's painful. It's heavy. It's like we are carrying on rocks on our shoulders and we don't even know why they are there. And we need to start discovering who we truly are behind all those masks, behind all that heaviness we are carrying. So we can let go of what's not ours, right? So we can let go of those false ideas, false stories that are forming a personality that is not allowing us to express who we feel that we truly are. And that is a great way to do the inner work, to truly recognize that all you need to do is to become who you feel that you need to become, and to constantly keep working on becoming that version of yourself, because all your reality will start adapting to who you are becoming. When you feel a greater level of self-worth, a level of abundance in your life will increase. When you increase a level of love and understanding for yourself, relationships in your life will improve, because you will become more loving for others. You will become more understandable and understanding to others. And when a level of self-compassion will increase towards yourself, you will become more compassionate for others, because you will understand that everybody is dealing with their own protective mechanisms, with their own emotions of shame, guilt, worry, sadness, because of different reasons. We all feel the same emotions. We're dealing with different things, but we all feel the same emotions. And once we understand that, it's almost impossible to not be compassionate with others. So my friends, I will leave you here. I hope you've found some value in today's message. I hope you've enjoyed in today's artwork. I want to remind you today is the last day of our special sale in our Etsy shop, I Draw My Passion. Go there and check it out. I'm sending you all lots of love, blessings and power. Till next time, one love.